Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Edible Paper by me, Paper Izzy, your host. In this podcast, I discuss pop culture stuff while on completely legal Delta 9 gummies. God. If I'm honest, I'm really upset because I already already recorded this episode once. I tried downloading another audio software so I could share this to places other than Spotify, which you might be listening to this on YouTube right now because I figured out how. After I recorded my podcast on that other app and it got deleted from that app. So I just talked for about 40 minutes for absolutely nothing. And now I'm gonna do it again. But such is the way of the world, right? I can't waste my gummy, I can't waste my thoughts. Which is sad. But what is life if not sad? Speaking of which, our first topic today is a Barbie. This is making me sad because now it feels kind of like it almost feels more stale because it feels rehearsed, because I basically did rehearse it because I already talked about everything that I wanted to talk about, and now I'm having to talk about it again, and it just makes me upset. So sorry if I sound a little stale in this episode. I just, they left my bag open and now I'm stale. That was really stupid, I'm sorry. But yeah, the first thing we're talking about today is Barbie and how much I love this movie. In the episode that got deleted, I waxed on and on and on about the set design and I can't remember the word now, but like traditional effects, practical effects. Oh, I love practical effects, and I talked about it for so long. So I guess I won't talk about it for as long this time because it was really dumb the last time. So I guess that's one thing about recording extra. But the set design is so cute and so beautiful. It's just cute is not a good word. It's gorgeous, and cute devours gorgeous. No, wait, gorgeous devours cute. Sorry, New York. Um, like the hand painted look and like having like the soundstage design. It's just so good. I mean, gals, it's so good. Come around to it. CGI has never really felt great to me. Especially like, and like computer animation. Like, I know it's neat, it's cool. Like, I will fight for it to be allowed to be its own artistic thing. Like, I completely get it. I think it can be super artistic. But for me, like when I watch a cartoon, that's not really the look that I like. So I don't really like it from like a visual standpoint. I don't like it, but that doesn't make it any less valid. And I think that's something to learn. Anyways, that's something I didn't cover in the episode that got deleted. This is where I'd put my episode if I had one. Oh, but yeah, Barbie is just such a good movie. Like I legitimately dissociated while watching it. Like dissociated. Yeah, during that movie. Anyways, I was just like, whew, it was intense because I feel like I am naturally an existentialist. I have copious amounts of existential dread on me at any point in time. So sometimes watching movies that are like about it kind of bum me out, and maybe it did bum me out a little bit, but that has nothing to do with the movie itself because it was so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My dog is so loud. Chester is so loud. I feel like we go over this in every episode, even though there's only been two. Yeah. I liked the Barbie movie. What can I say? And we're back. You are now listening to Edible Paper, a Paper Izzy podcast. I had to make sure Chester was alright because he was doing a lot of barking. As soon as I paused it, he stopped, and of course, as soon as now that I'm talking again, he's barking again. But such is the life of a dog person. He's just speaking. He's doing what he does, and if you can't understand that, then you need to find another podcast to listen to, honey, because I just don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's not great when he barks, because it freaks me out sometimes, but you know, he's doing what he does, and I appreciate him, and I love him anyways. Existentialism. But yeah, it was such a good movie. I know, like, I've talked about the fact that, you know, I think Barbie has been the starting point of many people's probably like body image issues. And I think that is fair. Uh, I don't think that was necessarily like the intention of Barbara, but I guess that's where we are. And I would have liked to have seen Mattel stand up to that a little bit, and maybe take some responsibility, but it didn't seem like that was, I mean, I feel like that was part of the message, but it definitely was not like a highlighted issue, which I think it definitely should have been. But overall, like, it's such a good movie. It's fantastic. Um, like, everyone who worked on it did such a fabulous job. Hari Neff, the trans actress who got all that flack for being in the Barbie movie. I mean, come on, she was just so good, and all the idiots being like, "Go woke, go broke," and Barbie's making so much fucking money. I'm sorry, like, people like Barbie and the Barbie movie and what it stands for, and that to me bodes well for our society because, you know, although it is capitalist in nature and basically just a big commercial, it, you know, it's I think it's sort of transcended that a little bit to where, you know, us as humans are appreciating art, and yeah, there's a monetary aspect to it, but I think a lot of us, like, we know that the world is messed up, but it's kind of like, what am I gonna do about it? And I think a lot of us hold that, um, of feeling bad that we can't do something about it. And I mean, but yeah, it's a lot to think about. Like I said, it's Barbie is very existential, and I really liked it. I loved a lot of the music. Angel by Pink Pantheress. Oh, that is such a good song. What was I made for? Obviously, a great song. Love, 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 love Billie Eilish. I used to not like her at all, but God, I love her. What was I made for? Great song. I mean, great music, great visuals, great marketing. It was a good movie. It was just a good movie. I don't know what else to tell you. If you don't believe me, you're just wrong. It's a good movie. Ben Shapiro, you can go step on a rock, go jump in a lake, is what my grandma would say. But stupid. It's just dumb. It's the Barbie movie. Just enjoy it. There's a train now. I've never noticed how noisy the world is, especially when you're trying to record. Um, and also, do I have to say that it's weird that you just can't record audio on your phone? Like, I mean, it's a phone. Like, the primary function is to hear and, like, play, you know, sound from other people and to record sound, or not record sound, but, you know, you put sound into it. So it's just strange that you just can't record on your phone anymore. So you have to download apps and yada yada yada, which, you know, leads us to here, but we're here and that's what counts. Yeah. So like I said, I loved the Barbie movie. We saw it opening night. We had to see it really late because all the other showings were like super sold out, or the only seats were in the very front. So we saw like the 10 o'clock showing because it was a lot of people going to see it. But I really liked it. I think it was successful. I'm interested in seeing what Mattel does next. If they do more Barbie movies, I know they said they wanted to do more toy movies. So we'll see. I mean, capitalism, baby. Am I right? I know there was talks about also making a Barney thing where it's sort of the same idea of like disillusioned 30 somethings, you know, thinking about their childhood and stuff like that, and how Barney goes into that. And it's just, I don't know. It's like, can I keep it happy? I had on the Sega Genesis, I had Barney's Hide and Seek, and I loved that fucking game. It was so fucking good. I mean, it was a good game. Um, Speaking of games, shit, I'm gonna talk about it now because I feel like it. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. There was the direct. as I'm filming this, it was today or whenever it was, they filmed the Nintendo Direct that was just Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and oh my god, it looks so good. I'm so excited. I love Mario so much. In the last episode that got deleted that I was talking about how much I love Mario and how much of an impact he's had on my life and how he is such a good person. And if you don't think he's a good person, then again, you're wrong. Mario is a great person and I love him. So, but mother, I love him. So yeah, Mario Brothers Wonder though, it looks so freaking trippy. I love the bubble power up. I cannot say enough how much I love the bubble power up. Did you hear me? I love the bubble power up. It's good. It's pretty. It's cute. It's everything I want, and it kills. Oh god, but yeah, Mario games are great, and this one looks so freaking. It just I love how trippy it is. Like, I love that. Like, I love just, like, the touch of, like, surrealism. Because, oh, I love that kind of thing. And it's stylized. And there's so many new enemies that I can't wait to draw. Like, the one with the big mouth, Mama, or whatever. Oh, it's just like my Mama. My Mama. Oh, my God. That is so dumb. But it just looks so beautiful, and I'm sad about Charles Martinet still, and that was another thing I talked about the way he performed Mario, like, shaped Mario's personality to an extent, and it's just crazy, like, that he's made such an impact on so many people, and now they've just found somebody who just kind of sounds like him, and it's just strange, you know. I hope it was his own decision to retire. I hope it wasn't Nintendo doing some weird Nintendo thing like they like to do. It's just, it's sad for me to see Charles Martinet go as the voice, but you know, he's leaving at the top of his game, and I appreciate him and everything he does, and I just want him to do what makes him happy and fulfilled. And sometimes it's hard to want that for somebody that you just don't know, because it's, you know, you don't know them. Why does it matter to you? But, you know, it does matter to me that even people that I'll never know, I want them to have, like, a happy life. So, the game, back to the game, it looks so cute. It looks so beautiful. Prince Florian, oh, I'm glad he's not Prince Haru, because I would have lost it if they introduced Prince Haru. Losing Charles Martinet as the voice of Mario and reintroducing Prince Haru, that would have been a nightmare. I would have been like, they're doing this on purpose. They don't like us. They hate us. But no, Prince Haru was from the 1987 Mario anime, The Great Mission to Save Princess Peach. Oh, it's so good. I liked it so much. It is so pretty and funny, and it's a good movie. It's a good movie. The only complaint is, of course, after Mario saves Princess Peach, she's like, "Hi, this is my fiance. Thanks for saving me." At the end, it's kind of like, oh my god, like Mario and Peach are meant to be together, and they just destroyed that for Prince Haru. So it's nice to know that the caterpillar, the prince of the Flower Kingdom isn't the same caterpillar prince of the Flower Kingdom. Like, if I had a nickel for every time, it would only be two, but it's weird that it happened twice. I love that meme. It's a good meme. I just feel like my whole podcast is just me saying, this is good, that's good, this is good, it's a good, it's a good. I'm so sad about Mario not being voiced by Charles Martinet anymore. It makes me so sad, and I just can't. Like, and that's really getting in the way of some of my excitement for the new games, is thinking that Charles Martinet won't be in it. But I also know that Charles Martinet is probably doesn't want us to just abandon, you know, Mario and our love of him just because he's not the voice anymore. Because I think he just loves Mario, like, as much as we do, if not more, you know. He just kind of is Mario. So I totally see that. And I mean, it's not going to be like I'm never going to play Nintendo games or Mario games again. Like, duh, I'm going to. But it'll just be a different experience, I feel like. And after some time passes, I know that it won't be as big of a deal, and we'll just keep moving on with life, because what else are we gonna do? Um, but yeah, so it looks like a great game. I love how trippy it looks. I love all the enemies and just all the different like badges, like badges. That is so crazy. I'm glad that they're doing something actually new, because the new Super Mario Brothers series was getting so awful. Like, not awful, but just getting so boring and so predictable. And that's one thing I love about Mario, is that it's not boring, it's not predictable. So when they do something that is, it's like, oh, God. So, but also, they're being safe. They have money to make because they're a billion-dollar corporation. So, what am I going to say? But again, I can find joy in things, even if they're made by people who aren't necessarily good for the world, good for the environment, but that doesn't make me a bad person. But also, I think you should hold people accountable and, tailor what you do to people's actions. I think there's a middle ground, though. I don't think it's necessarily this is good, this is bad. But again, what do I know? I'm not a scientist. I don't even remember what we're talking about right now, because this Delta 9 has hit me hard, and I don't know. So, but Mario Brothers Wonder looks great, and I can't wait to play it. It just looks fabulous. It looks so fabulous. Yeah, so I had other stuff that I was going to talk about in this podcast. I made a list, but I shut it outside the door. Ethel Cain actually is the one of the other things I wanted to talk to. Oh my God, tongue tied. Ethel Cain is one of the other things I wanted to talk about. Right now, one of my favorite songs, for right now, is "Dying Star" by Ashnikko and Ethel Cain, and hats off to Ashnikko, because I didn't think like she. Actually, I guess I did, because Panic Attacks in Paradise is really good. But even then, it's kind of loud and boisterous in a way that I think Dying Star is just completely different. And I really love, like, when artists collab and they push each other into different directions, or even if not different directions, just like a different, part of the direction you're heading. Yeah, it's stuff. It's things. But it's just such a pretty song, and I love the lyrics. I did a drawing for it, which you can find on my Instagram. Not to just plug all this stuff in here, which everything that I do is free except for Patreon, which is $5. And if you want to support me, that's great. And if you don't, then that's fine too, because I know not everyone can support everybody, and it's just an extra way for me to be able to do a little bit more, and I think you get something good for it. You get to pick topics, like the Barbie movie was suggested by Velocity Girl, who is one of my patrons. So, come on, if you want to suggest podcast topics for me to talk about for 5 seconds and then forget. I feel so upset that I lost that recording. I know I keep talking about it, but I talked so in depth about how much I love Ethel Cain and how much I love her album Preacher's Daughter, and I was talking about the music, and all that stuff is lost, and I have to talk about it again. I don't have to talk about it again. I could just be like, we lost it, it's fine. I just want to get some of my thoughts out there, which is the reason I have a podcast. The pod is for unleashing thoughts onto an unsuspecting public. Oh my God. I mean, if that's not the best way to describe a podcast, I really don't know what is. So let's draw it again. Family Tree. Such a great song. So haunting. Love religious imagery. These crosses all over my body remind me of who I used to be. I mean, come on. That is some great lyricism. I love her lyrics. And her voice is so ethereal and magical and beautiful, and I love it. And the melodies and everything is just so good. Oh, American Teenager is a great song. It's probably one of my favorite songs of the year, even though I know it came out last year. Whatever. It's just one of my favorite songs, okay? And that's on period. That's on period poo. It's just one of my favorite songs. I love it. It has so many different layers, and like I mentioned on my last episode of the podcast, of the pod, that have a lot of religious trauma, and I don't really want to go into that right now because it's a lot, and I kind of talked about it on the last episode, and but I I just really relate to a lot of the lyrics, of stuff she sings about, like the lyric in Some Bleach Flies, God loves you but not enough to save you. Like, holy shit. That is such like it is such like a specific line, but it is so poignant, and I just don't think I'll ever get over that. Strangers, also love Strangers. It's so haunting. The outro is so beautiful, and I just wish I had a whole like album of just the outro. Just I'm gonna find it on YouTube because there probably is one. Just the outro for Strangers, like on an hour loop. It's such a good song. Also love. I almost called it You and I. Oh my god, Thoroughfare reminds me of You and I because out in Kansas. Every time I say You and I, it just reminds me of QAnon. I don't know why. Just the way I'm saying it, like, that just makes me think of it. I don't know. Interesting. But yeah, Thoroughfare. Good song. You and I, great song. Not on Preacher Starter, that's by Lady Gaga. But just the whole, like, Nebraska imagery, I think, makes me think of it. But it's so good. Western Nights, that reminds me of Stranger Things. I did a drawing of Billy from Stranger Things for it because it just reminds me of Stranger Things. More specifically, Billy, which, obviously, because I just said that. Wow. I have no idea what we're talking about. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for anybody having to listen to this. I really just don't know what I was talking about. Oh, I was talking about Ethel Cain. Duh. She's so much fun. I love her aesthetic, like the Southern Gothic, traumatized by religion thing. It just works. It is so, I feel like it is specific, but it just works so well, and I relate to it so much, and I can't say enough good things about Ethel Cain and how I like how conscious she is about the stuff she sings about, talking about how, her version of the way the world works is going to be different than somebody else's version. And, um, you know, everything has context and everything has a time and a place. Time and place. And, I feel like if you're going to sing or write or create art about something that can be a completely different experience to somebody else, I feel like you have to realize that and be, mindful of it. And I think she does a really good job of that. And I just really appreciate her. She's great. She's amazing. I mean, Ethel Cain. Ethel Cain. It's just there's something about like the music that is so ethereal and just like spellbinding and captivating. And her songwriting and like her melodies and like her lyricism, everything is so spot on and just like so intense. And I feel like she wrote it just for me, and yet she wrote it for herself and for the world, and it's nuts. It's really nuts to think of an album being that way, and that's definitely the way it is. Oh, I cannot tongue pop. I'm so cotton mouth right now. Whew. God. But but yeah. Ethel Cain. If y'all aren't on Ethel Cain right now, y'all need to do something about that, cause she's just really good. I feel like this podcast is literally just me repeating Mario's really good. Barbie was really good. Whatever we're talking about now, Ethel Cain, really good. But I'd rather talk about stuff that I like because I just don't want to be surrounded in negativity. And the internet is so fucking negative all the time. And even if it's for a good reason, and like we're trying to change the world and it's not going to be positive all the time, but sometimes you have to just like step back and remember what's positive in your own life and to do the best you can to make sure everyone else's life is like has those positive moments. And I think that's like a big thing about being human that people just forget, which, you know, that's people for you. So at the end of the day, that's really all I have to say. Is Cain's amazing, and y'all need to get on it. You just have to do it. While we're talking about music, I also want to talk about Miley Cyrus. 10 years ago, and I think like next month it'll be 10 years since Bangerz came out, which is insane. 2013 was a great year for music. Bangerz, art pop, I mean, amazing pop albums. Great pop albums. I can't believe it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since the infamous We Can't Stop performance, which I went in great length about it on the episode of the podcast that got deleted. About how, like, I had never heard of cultural appropriation until around this time. And I really didn't understand it. And I do think that it's okay to not understand something and agree with it necessarily right away, maybe. But I think that it's also good not to dismiss it. And I'm glad that that's where I fell, is like I did not dismiss it and I thought on it. And we can grow as people. And, you know, I see the problems with the visuals, the era, the art that she was making. I don't necessarily think that was her intention. I think she I see it from like a pop music standpoint where, you know, every album you want to do something different. You want to sing a little bit of different kind of music and have different visuals. And I want to hope that that's all it is. But even then, you know, there's a conversation to be had about how can you just use a visual. There's context with it. And I think that goes with Ethel Cain a little bit too. And I'm kind of glad that I think Miley learned that lesson. I think a lot of us learned that lesson through that. So in a way, like, I'm thankful that it happened. I'm also not thankful because, I mean, if it really did affect people negatively, like, that makes me sad to think that they have a different view of it and probably a more accurate view, honestly. You know, it's easy to be blind and ignorant to stuff. And I think that's with politics. I think that's where people get kind of messed up, is they feel bad about something and then their first instinct is to like go the opposite way, and it's like, no, like, you have to face those ideas head on and grow and learn and change. If you're the same as you always were, then you've probably fallen behind. You know, I think there's always room to learn and always room to treat people better. And I'm glad that we can have those conversations more openly now. No fault of, you know, people of color. They've been trying to have those conversations. Just white people are so stupid. Obviously, not all white people are stupid. I know some good ones. No, but it's just it's intense to just like know about these kind of things, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing that we should know about, you know, injustices of the world. Like, we can just ignore it, but that doesn't help anyone. So I appreciate, you know, even if it was unintended, for Bangerz to sort of open that door. Not like I don't want to really give Miley the credit for that, because it's obviously decades and decades of hard work by people of color to make sure that like these conversations could be had. And I think it just happened at the right time, and the zeitgeist was where it was for a reason. And I just wonder how much easier and better life would be if like we listened to people. Like, you know, like when you say, hey, like, we should do this to be better, and then all these people just say no and nobody does it. Like, where could the world be if we treated everyone like just like humans, like we're supposed to? None of this really has much to do with Bangerz, except, you know, the ways it is grown, and I've grown with it and it's grown with me. I think it is a good album. You know, it's an angry album. It's a sad album. It's a fun album. It has so many layers. Like, I've danced to it. I've cried to it. I've screamed, and I've danced around and skipped and hollered. It's such a good record. I'm also so glad I got to see the tour, because I would have been so mad if it got canceled, because it almost did, because she got sick. And I think she had to take some kind of medicine that she was allergic to, and then the rest of the tour got canceled. And like, we were right in the sweet spot of her thinking she was, or her feeling okay. So, you know, we got to see the show, because she doesn't tour anymore. And I don't blame her for that one bit. I'm sure it's awful. I'm sure it's hard to do. I cannot imagine being away from your family like that and having to sleep on a bus. It just doesn't sound fun. I don't blame her for it at all. You know, I feel bad for the people who never got to see her in concert. I can obviously speak on it from somebody who has seen her in concert. But even then, like, people like Britney Spears, I haven't seen her in concert. But if she never tours again, I would hope that that's, you know, if that's what she wants, I want her to be able to do it. So, yeah, I don't know any of these people, and they don't know me. But I still want the best for them, even though it just kind of doesn't matter. I guess either way, it doesn't really matter. But, you know, there's some wild moments on the album with, like, Do My Thing, 4x4. They're pretty out there, but I really do love them. You know, Heartbreaking Moments, Drive. Drive is such a good, underrated song. Maybe not underrated, but it wasn't a single, so it is kind of underrated, because it should have been, like, maybe the third, yeah, definitely. I said maybe the third single. Girl, what other places are there? First had to be We Can't Stop. Second had to be Wrecking Ball, so it would have to have been third. But they chose Adore You, which is fine, but it's just so much slower. And even Drive isn't really slow, but it's definitely like a ballad, but it's like really, I feel like it has so much energy and so much intensity and passion. It should have been the third single. Maybe the era wouldn't have been cut so short. Maybe it would have been. But Miley Cyrus has never really been known for long eras. If you've been following her since the Hannah Montana days, you know, it's kind of like, we're celebrating, we're having fun, we're filming 2 music videos, and then we're out of here. Like, having an era where there were more than 2 music videos was was great. It was just really good. So, you know, I'm glad we got the video for Adore You. It's yeah, it's just a good album. I mean, I think it encapsulates such a time in my life, and I'm so thankful. Oh God, I cannot speak. I'm so thankful for the album, and I'm happy to celebrate, you know, it being out for 10 years. That's just crazy to me. My life is so different now than it was back then. But I think it's changed in a lot of good ways, and obviously some maybe not so good ways. You know, there are people that aren't in my life that I wish were, and, you know, I think that we always think of all the things that could have been, but, you know, they're not, so we need to think about what we have. And what I have is a really good life. And I know I love talking about really shallow stuff on here, like, just, you know, stupid music that I like, but, you know, it's, I think it's okay to be serious sometimes, you know, bring it back to our first topic of Barbie, you know, being, like, existential. I think that's okay to be sometimes, to think about your life, because we're here, you know, I want to be present, and I like doing this podcast, and I'm glad I came back to YouTube, and I'm glad that I'm just doing what I want to do, because, you know, life is just too short. And Miley Cyrus, Bangerz Miley Cyrus would want me to do all sorts of fun stuff for myself. I mean, regular Miley Cyrus probably would too, but she doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know who I am. I'm just a not teenage dirtbag. But I guess that's the pod. I guess that's the podcast, y'all. I probably missed some stuff that I really wanted to talk about, because I had to re-record. I'm sorry about that. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it and leave a comment. Tell me just what you think about it. I'm glad that I can put this on YouTube as well as Spotify. Just make sure to follow me on here and on my social media. I'm Paper Izzy everywhere. Like I said, the only thing that requires money is Patreon, and you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to do that if you don't want to, because I understand. I get it, gal. So, I just appreciate you listening if you got this far. Yeah. Moira Wonder, Miley Cyrus, Ethel, Cain, and Barbie. That's the pod. That's the pod. Anyways, I hope y'all liked it. Just, yeah, let me know what you think. And I will see y'all next time on another episode of Edible Paper, a podcast by Paper Izzy. I love doing that. Adios, amigos.